Ah, yes, the Death Guard note from handing down high from Miller, probably given to by Briff, right out there swinging a 4 bore, something like that about your waste treatment, your water treatment. Your guard is the 3 and the 4 of the W boson, really? Energy numbers, doping chips, the way things start bouncing around when you pull all the stuff out of the chip. I mean, if that's what you have to do, 3 mean. The first 2 means is change something, test it, debug it, something in there, those two, which gives you potential gravity equation, learning glass. The force is the tidal force. You touch the button being God, that makes you the moon about what it normally does on an orbital system, let's say the copper, or any kind of smelting that we will do, the chemistry glassware that is either in one hand, we take the volume. That's the sunshine problem right there, a sigma 5 point whatever. When Death Guard Plague comes at you with the inversion of that number first, right? It's probably first order. There's a move in terms of an XY timeline on the system, and you have to chase out that rabbit, being Chronica down there on Mortal Kombat, just working up the tower. That's where you rank out. Obviously, you're playing the game. That's a hell of a lot more hurts, but it doesn't actually happen like that, because if you were out there, Salty Kong, doing your bullshit like that, short of going Ronin about being Emperor Salty Kong over there, you bleeding. Oh, you are bleeding.
Post-heresy. Since the culmination of the Horus heresy, the principal forces of...
Just to be realistic here. Let's see, get my volume back on here.
War in this somber attire, though various vectorial...
Okay. So you got to go to the site. I've been to the dump a couple of times, so that's where the first azimuth begins. I've fished that back pond so many times I don't even know what to tell you. And if you're going to eat those fish and do something to it, well, maybe you're concerned. It is right next to a bunch of leaking, all kinds of crazy, don't know what kind of critter got into something. Plus, your natural black mold issues out there pitching a tent and trying to stay alive. Those diseases and things, local inoculations that you serve from those places, so that way you don't have a COVID or a pestilence horseman figure 4 bore issue putting it on the paper target, right? Because that is when you're training them like that, because that's your paper target. Get those azimuths down as far as their protracted warfares, and you can just turn right into a soldier if necessary, or potential chaos marine, depending on what the militia is doing. And that locally raises up. You get a tomb world pop up on you. Death Guards there in the mission, and it makes sense, right? Stuff starting to burn. All those waste treatment and stuff drop back on security, because who's the first to go? And what do you got to pull out on the ranks before Betty or your Ukrainian old guys got a gun in hand? And we really have to think about what we're hanging on to Boy Scout camp for Zelensky over there working the war chest. It's got to be worked out. And, well, in this standpoint, you're going to get some prince deity, eldritch being stepping out of the veil on you about what that looks like. And it's pretty common to say that. It actually happens way more than you think. You beat the Jesus kid. You Sefri Germain, the poor girl, whatever. You were a slave master named George Washington fucking Carpenter. I really could give a hot goddamn about what that looks like from the Death World perspective and how to redo the farm. Oh, good days. At any rate, you just take that mound out back, right? That's your Death Guard. That's your stuff. You can't teach somebody to be, secure about yourself, because you don't know the real response time of the cops' timeline on what it is both ways. And so there's your alpha and beta sets, or at least a causal notation to why you got to skip right to C. Well, what if A is and B are just Pavlovian numbers brought into the situation? If we go to a different planet, they might not use the same geometry 1 short of the trade deal. Theoretically, way the fuck out there. So that's going to be some quintessence. I'm going to catch me a Paulie somewhere who's in there running the gate. He's going to be Maxwell's demon. He damn well better be about what the Andor D flip-flop should do, because that's everybody's salty rabbit stew. And you'll learn to eat that. Guana, python, rabbits, get gentle while we're making mittens and everything else around here. anything that's, mess on your cycle. There's your hillbilly spinner shop. And not that there won't be rock piled up at some point in time behind those saws because they're just cut. Is it just clean up every one of them, Fermilab every loop? It's real loopy, especially when curveballs get coming at it. And you could argue, well, I get a lot more out of that Zenith by ripping the whole half day or 3/4 of a day and then cleaning up. And I can prove that shit by being that goddamn Mason robot in there just doing that job, locally inoculated to it. That doesn't kill me. Everybody else in the room might die, but there you go.